The studio lights of the Wendy Williams Show blazed across the glossy floor, dancing over cameras, cue cards, and a restless live audience buzzing with anticipation. It wasn't every day that Meghan Markle, former actress, duchess, philanthropist, and headline magnate, agreed to appear on a daytime talk show known for its unfiltered commentary. The producers expected ratings. Meghan expected a platform. Wendy expected drama. No one expected the storm that followed. As the countdown clock ticked toward zero, Meghan adjusted the sleeves of her soft white blouse, inhaling deeply. She had faced press scrutiny for years, but something about Wendy Williams's reputation for blunt, unpredictable questions made her pulse quicken. Still, Meghan reminded herself, be calm. Be clear. Stay grounded. Places. We're live in 20 seconds. Shouted the floor manager. Wendy strutted to her seat in a shimmering emerald dress, confidence radiating off her as if she owned not just the studio, but the entire airwaves. She flipped her cue cards once, then looked up with a sly smile. Meghan, darling, ready? She asked. As ready as I can be, Meghan replied. The red, live, sign blinked on. The audience erupted into applause as Wendy turned to greet the viewers. Welcome back. Today, we have someone who needs no introduction, Meghan Markle. Meghan walked on stage, smiling warmly, waving at the audience. She took her seat across from Wendy, legs crossed, posture poised. The energy in the room shifted instantly, electric, tense, curious. Wendy leaned forward. Meghan, let's get right into it. You've been in headlines nonstop. Drama, documentaries, interviews, royal tension. Do you ever feel like you create more noise than you clear? Meghan blinked, the question hitting harder than expected. She composed herself. I don't think I create noise, she said. I simply speak my truth, and the noise happens around it. Wendy smirked. Your truth seems to cause earthquakes, though. A nervous laughter rippled through the audience. Meghan's smile tightened. Well, that's what happens when people aren't used to women setting boundaries. Wendy raised a brow. Is that what you call it? Boundaries. Some people would say you walked away from tradition, responsibility, and an entire country's expectations. The tone sharpened. Meghan exhaled slowly. I walked away from a situation that was harming my mental health. I think anyone would do the same. Wendy tapped her cards. But you also walked into Netflix deals, book contracts, and global fame. Seems like you left one spotlight for an even bigger one. The audience oohed subtly. Meghan stiffened. I didn't ask for the fame. I asked for peace. Wendy shot back instantly. And yet you're here, on live TV, promoting your new foundation project. Doesn't sound very peaceful. A flicker of irritation crossed Meghan's eyes. My work is about helping women and children. That doesn't contradict wanting peace. Wendy leaned in, voice lowering. Meghan, people think you play the victim. That you use emotional storytelling to control narratives. What do you say to that? The temperature in the studio seemed to spike. The audience fell pin-drop silent. Meghan's voice trembled slightly, frustration, hurt, anger mixing inside her. I don't play anything. I survived situations you have no idea about. Wendy's gaze sharpened. Oh, trust me, Meghan, people have ideas. And they're not always flattering. Something inside Meghan snapped. She sat up straight, shoulders rigid, eyes steady and fierce. You talk about people's lives as if they're entertainment, Meghan said, her voice tight. Maybe that works for ratings, Wendy, but it doesn't work for human beings. The audience gasped audibly. Cameras zoomed in. Producers shifted nervously behind the scenes. Wendy's smile vanished. Excuse me. You heard me, Meghan said. You profit off tearing people down. You twist stories. You push women, especially women of color, into corners and call it commentary. Wendy's eyes widened slightly, the accusation landing directly where she least liked to be hit. That's a big claim, Meghan. And frankly, hypocritical coming from someone who's monetized her own drama for years. Meghan's jaw tightened. I've spoken up to protect myself and my family. There's a difference. Wendy snapped her fingers dramatically. Same thing, different gloss. A murmur spread across the audience. Meghan shook her head, visibly upset now. You invited me here to discuss my work, she said. Not to ambush me. Oh, this isn't an ambush. This is journalism, Wendy declared. This is harassment, Meghan shot back. The tension exploded. The audience reacted instantly, some cheering, some booing, many frozen in disbelief. A producer frantically waved at the host, signaling to dial back the conflict. But Wendy pushed forward. "You think you can control every narrative, Meghan, but not here. Not on my show. And you think you can disrespect guests and call it honesty," Meghan said sharply. Wendy stood from her chair. Meghan stood too. The floor manager's voice echoed. "Cut to commercial. Cut to." Too late. Wendy pointed toward the wings. "If you're going to accuse me of harassment, you can leave." Meghan's eyes glistened, not with tears, but with fury. "Gladly," she said. She unhooked her mic, handed it to a stunned production assistant, and walked off set as the audience erupted into chaos, cheers, gasps, shouts blending into a frenzy. Wendy looked directly into the camera, breath unsteady. Well, that happened. But behind the scenes, producers were scrambling, phones ringing, chaos building. Because the incident wasn't over. It was about to go viral. Backstage, the hallway buzzed with frantic footsteps as Meghan strode past startled crew members. Her face was flushed, her hands slightly trembling, but her posture remained straight, unwavering. She had lived through palace politics, tabloid warfare, and global scrutiny, yet something about Wendy's confrontation had struck deeper than expected. A young intern hurried behind her. "Ms. Markle, please, the executive producer wants to speak with you." Meghan turned sharply. "Tell them I'm not returning to the stage." The intern nodded nervously and ran off. As Meghan reached the private waiting room, she finally exhaled and pressed a hand lightly against her forehead. The room was quiet, too quiet, its scented candles and bottled water unable to soften the sting of what had just happened. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Messages from her PR team, from Harry, from friends across oceans. The clip was already spreading online. She hadn't even left the building. Meanwhile, on stage, chaos reigned. Producers were arguing over the next move, debating whether to apologize, clarify, or pretend the argument never happened. Wendy stood beside her chair, fanning herself dramatically as the audience bubbled with gossip. One producer, Carla, rushed to her. "Wendy, we need to go into damage control. That blew up too fast." Wendy lifted her chin defiantly. "I asked questions. She couldn't handle them." Carla grimaced. "There's a difference between hard questions and provoking a guest live on air. Social media is already calling this the most explosive episode in daytime TV." Wendy shrugged. "That's not a bad thing." "It is," Carla snapped, "if Meghan's team files a complaint." Wendy's eyes narrowed. "She accused me of harassment on air." "What about that?" Carla rubbed her temples. "We'll sort it out. Just, please, keep your cool for the next segment." But Wendy Williams keeping her cool was as unlikely as Meghan Markle returning to the stage. Back in the waiting room, Meghan's phone lit up again, this time with a video call request from Harry. She sighed. "Not now," she whispered, silencing it. Her manager, Simone, entered the room quietly. "Meghan." Meghan looked up, eyes burning with frustration. This was supposed to be about the foundation. About real work. Not this. Simone approached, her tone gentle but firm. "This is Wendy Williams's show. The producers warned us she might provoke you." Meghan's voice cracked slightly. "I didn't expect that. I've been grilled before, Simone. But this was, attack for entertainment." Simone sat beside her. "The world will see both sides. And believe me, people are already praising your composure." Meghan shook her head. "It didn't feel composed. You stood up for yourself. For a lot of women who feel silenced. That matters." Meghan murmured, "I'm just tired." Tired doesn't mean wrong. Before Meghan could respond, a firm knock sounded at the door. Carla, the producer, entered hesitantly. "Meghan, I'm here to apologize. That shouldn't have escalated like that." Meghan stayed silent, expression unreadable. Carla continued, "We'd like to film a short segment to clarify things. Just you. Calm. No confrontation. It may help with public perception." Meghan let out a soft, humorless laugh. "Public perception. That's always the priority." "Please," Carla said. "We want to fix this." Meghan looked away. "I won't go back on stage with Wendy." "You won't have to." Carla paused. "We can film from this room." Simone watched Meghan carefully. "It's your decision." For a long moment, silence hung in the air. Finally, Meghan nodded. "Fine. But this time, I speak on my terms. Carla gave a relieved smile and hurried out to gather a camera crew. Back on the studio floor, Wendy was pacing in the corner, scrolling through her phone. Comments were pouring in, some praising her boldness, others condemning her for attacking a guest. One comment stood out. Wendy crossed a line. Meghan stood up for herself. Another read. This is why women of color stay silent on platforms like this. Disrespect masked as journalism. Wendy's jaw clenched. She didn't like being the villain. At least, not unintentionally. A stage assistant approached cautiously. They're filming with Meghan in the back room. Wendy froze. Without me. It's a clarification segment. Wendy scoffed. Of course. But deep down, she felt a sting of something unfamiliar, regret, maybe. Or the realization that this drama might not be the kind she could easily control. 10 minutes later, a small camera crew set up inside Meghan's private waiting room. Meghan sat calmly, her expression centered, her voice steady. When women speak up, she said into the camera, especially women who come from different backgrounds, they're often told they're dramatic or difficult. Today reminded me of that. She continued, her tone soft yet powerful. But I won't apologize for standing up for myself. Not today, not ever. Simone watched proudly as the crew packed up. Carla approached Meghan. Thank you. We'll air this right after the commercial break. Meghan nodded politely. I'll be leaving now. She gathered her bag, slipped on her coat, and walked to the exit with quiet dignity. As she stepped outside into the cool afternoon air, the paparazzi flashes erupted instantly, but for once, Meghan didn't flinch. She walked past them, calm, steady, unbroken. Behind her, in the studio, producers raced to edit the segment, audiences buzzed with shock, and Wendy Williams sat alone at her desk, realizing she may have miscalculated. Because Meghan hadn't just walked off the stage, she had walked away with the public's sympathy and the world's attention, and this story was far from over.